Texas, Oklahoma. Here we go. You got your first Red River shootout in the SEC era of Texas and Oklahoma, and Texas is 14.5-point favorites. Now, has Texas played any particular team that's incredible? I'm willing to say no, because I don't think Michigan
ULM.
is really. Well, yeah, ULM's 4-1. Holy jeez. I don't believe that Michigan's that good. Okay, I really don't. I know you took them on the road, and that still is a tough place to go to, and they looked awesome in that game. Still waiting for a slightly bigger sample size to see what they're really made of. Oklahoma, on the other hand, has struggled on the offensive side of the football in more ways than one, but defensively, I think they've put up a pretty good effort in a lot of these games. On the flip side, too, you can look at Oklahoma's schedule and be like, okay, like it's not like they've played a ton of mega, absolutely superstar rosters either. But I'm still inclined to believe that this defense for Oklahoma is pretty good. It's a veteran unit. They're really good across the front seven. Can these wide receivers for Texas take advantage of this? And I know that Texas has done a good job scoring in the red zone this season. I'm still kind of concerned. Like, what if they get down there, right? And they got these smaller receivers and they got a rushing attack that's been good, hasn't been great. And you stall out in the red zone and those touchdowns turn into field goals, I don't know. I think there's a chance that Oklahoma stays in this football game if they take care of the football and they find a way to stall Texas in the red zone. I think they can cover this 14.5. I'll take Texas to win, but I think Oklahoma covers this 14.5. That's too many points in a rivalry game where both teams are talented. Okay, just Oklahoma having some offensive issues.
I'll be with you there too, actually. Absolutely. Texas to win, but Oklahoma plus 14.5. I also think the backdoor cover here is certainly in play with potentially not the lack of talent at running back, right, for Texas, but we've seen some of the injuries pile up now, and that could be something to absolutely keep in mind for sure in terms of trying to salt this game away in that fourth quarter. Also, you got to think about, too, Quinn Ewers, very, very good, and I think absolutely he gives you the best chance to win this football game other than over Arch Manning for sure, but he also might be a little bit rusty, too. It's been, 3-4, almost a month since he played. We saw him play in that Michigan game,
Yep.
and I've absolutely looked very good. But again, you could see some of that. Oklahoma, you mentioned, very good defense, right? We love the way that they've been playing and attacking teams, Tennessee, Auburn, just like that. And I'll say this too, I don't know if I buy this whole Texas elite defense thing. They played an awful, awful Michigan offense, right? Davis Warren was terrible. And they kind of just sold out for the run in that first half and just kind of made Michigan, who didn't have any weapons, try to move the football. And they did a little bit in that first half. They just couldn't execute. They couldn't score, right? We saw the interceptions, fumble, whatever. I do think Oklahoma, with Michael Hawkins, has that identity that we're just going to run the football. We get Javante Barnes back there. Hopefully, we're going to get some wide receivers healthy. I don't know exactly what's going to go on there, but that would be ideal, and maybe give you some kind of weapon with a deep threat or something that you can kind of take some pressure off of Hawkins and Barnes. But they're going to have that identity. They'll shorten the game, kind of muddy it up, and make Quinn Ewers and that offense score every time and score touchdowns. You talked about the red zone and stuff like that. That's going to be so important in this game if you're not only to win but also to cover that 14.5 for those reasons. And it's also the Red River rivalry game. You picking a blowout. Yes, it happened a couple years ago. I get that. Much different teams right now. It's very rare, right? In the last half a decade we've seen in this game here. And is it, correct me if I'm wrong, it's normally been that big noon kickoff, right? Because it's been the 11 a.m. Fox game. What we can remember, right?
I believe it's normally an 11 a.m. game.
It's 2:30 now.
Central time.
Central time, thank you. That big noon kickoff, big noon Eastern time kickoff. We'll see. It's going to be pretty hot there, right? 2:30, baking in the sun. I don't know if that favors a team like Texas with some speed and athleticism, or if that maybe favors the ground and pound physical style that Oklahoma is going to bring to this, which, by the way, is crazy to think about. Yeah,
Now, I mean, the Texas offensive line obviously is probably one of the better offensive lines in the country. Of course, before Oklahoma fans are like, powerhouse offense. What do you mean? We've played Tennessee. I mean, I was pretty sold on Tennessee earlier this season. I think I've had to reevaluate somewhat their offense and at least Nico Iamalieva at this point. I still think Oklahoma put up a really good defensive effort for the most part in that game. And it was their offense, and Jackson Darnold kind of let them down, and Hawkins kind of showed some life there at the end of the game. But, I mean, Tulane, I don't know. I like to think that they're pretty one-dimensional, at least when they're playing high-level competition. I feel like quarterback isn't it's not perfect there. It's all right. It's not perfect. And then Auburn, I mean, winning on a picture. You've also had turnover luck too. I mean, 8 fumble recoveries. This is the most fumble recoveries in the entire country up until this point. So the Oklahoma defense, I still think is good. Okay, they've gotten to the quarterback, 18 sacks, only allowed 2.6 yards per carry, only allowing 16 points per game. I've seen the friskiness. I've seen the experience. So I'm very interested to see how this game turns out. I think it can go a lot of different ways, but I'm inclined to believe that I still think the Oklahoma defense is good, despite what all the stuff I just said about, maybe not playing all the elitist of talent that I thought that maybe they played early in the season. But we'll see,
Can I
man.
ask you this? Can I ask
Yeah.
you this? So, in terms of Sarkisian on the offensive side versus Venables on the defensive side, and it's kind of hard to pick. It's apples and oranges, but who do you give the edge to here, right? And obviously, players matter, right, in the environment, obviously. But
Yeah, you got to give it to Sarkisian, right? I mean, that I love what Brett Venables is doing on the defense side of the football, and you can tell that year over year there's been consistent improvement, right? And players are staying in their program and they're getting high level recruits and talent, in both levels, right? In secondary and the defensive line, I think they've had some big time names, big time recruits come there the last couple of years. But yeah, I give it to Sarkisian. I don't know if I give Texas's weapons the edge, and I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't know why. I feel like I still need to see more from these Texas weapons. And maybe this is just, we talk about grading certain teams on different curves than we grade other teams. Because Texas is one of the best teams in the entire country. I still feel like I need to see more from Texas's weapons, particularly their wide receivers, to really feel like that I know that this is a national championship caliber team, which, you know, based on what we've seen on the field, I can understand the argument that one would believe that Texas is a national championship contender. They are a national championship contender. I shouldn't say that they're not, but are they that team? I think we're gonna learn a lot. I don't think necessarily we'll learn everything we need to learn about Texas moving forward after this game, but I think we'll learn a lot. Every little data point counts. So I'm excited. But with you, we'll take Texas to win, Oklahoma to cover 14, and the hook.